Welcome into a Monday's edition of the Jordy Culotta Show, live here and presented every single day by Go Chevrolet. Special thanks to our crew down there in Laplace, Louisiana. Nick Richard, Lee Carney, the entire crew. Remember, a brand new used car lot over here in Baton Rouge, and the newest addition to the Go Chevrolet family over at Go Express Auto Sales on Florida Boulevard. Jack is here, Katie is here, Lizzie is here. No Noah for the next 2 days as he's vacationing.
You know where he's going?
Yeah, where is Noah?
I don't
even know.
I hope he's going to the beach with that body, dude.
Yeah, he's got to be taking.
Oh, it's birthday today, too. It's his birthday.
Nice.
Monday. Shout out Noah.
Aw,
19
happy
years
birthday,
old.
Noah.
Going. I'm just going to assume he's going to the beach.
He should be.
19.
He's going to Shreveport, he told me.
Great head of hair.
Shreveport.
He's not.
Happy birthday to
Have a
Noah.
timeshare in Shreveport.
Bossier's beautiful this time of the year.
Oh, my God.
A lot of softball going on.
Coming up this morning on the Jordy Culotta Show, we'll talk a little bit about softball as Beth Torina and the Tigers do it again as they're heading back to a super regional. They'll be heading to Tiger Park. Will be the backdrop for Torina and the Tigers. As yesterday they get past the Raging Cajuns.
Bad blood.
We'll talk a little bit about that to start today's show. Jim Hawthorne is going to be here at 7:30 this morning. Little depressed that we couldn't get the ballad over to you this morning, as Hawthorne last night was up with a couple of email tries and phone calls to me post 10 o'clock as you could hear the stress in the voice as he could not
In the voice.
He could not figure out the email on how to get over the large file. Talked a little bit about
Google Drive, dude.
a Dropbox, and it just went
It fizzled.
off the rails. So we are last ditch efforting, trying to get the sound of Jim Hawthorne as he wrote a song about Hold the Rope, the documentary that comes out tonight, and Skip Bertman. Obviously, Hawthorne, the voice of so many memories for LSU sports. He was on the call for all 5 of Skip Bertman's national championships. He was there late in the mid-'80s. Which is when Skip really started to drive the ship for LSU baseball. Jim Hawthorne has seen it all with Skip Bertman. He will reminisce and tell some stories here at 7:30 this morning. Really looking forward to catching up with the voice. Tom Hart will be here at 8 o'clock this morning. Hart was on the call over the weekend for LSU, Texas A&M, and College Station. Tigers needed to take 2 of 3. They did that. LSU was able to take Friday and Saturday's contest from the Aggies, which sets them up as the 9th overall seed in the SEC baseball tournament. We will talk about that with Wilson Alexander from The Advocate coming up at 8:15. And then the NBA playoffs are in full swing. No matter what you think about the sport, the politics, and everybody that's in the NBA, when they get to the playoff season,
You watch.
they start playing hard, brother. It is all eyes on the television because that's as good as sports can offer when those guys are playing like they care.
And is that the difference? Is that what it is? Is that you can just you can immediately tell if it's a playoff game or not? Like they have to, because there's other sport that does that.
It's a defense.
Yeah,
it's a defense.
Well, no, they're playing hard. Like you could tell between a 65th regular season game and then the first round of the playoffs.
Yeah.
But like even I'm checked out of the regular season. I love watching basketball.
Yeah, no, I'm all in.
The intensity is ramped up,
the,
dude.
The NBA playoffs are as good as television can offer, as good as sports can offer. To me, they're the best athletes in the world.
Without a doubt.
When you're just talking about specific
don't foul him.
sports. Yeah, well, especially LeBron.
Lemicki?
Sheesh, bro. I mean,
He's still Space Jam, dude. Yeah, he's still acting.
Chris Paul is, like, for all intents and purposes, he's my size. You know what I mean? He's like 6 foot, 185 pounds.
You're giving yourself 6 feet?
He's rounded.
I'm just saying, if we're standing next to each other, I look a lot closer to Chris Paul than I do LeBron James.
Okay, that's a
There
better
you
way
go.
to put it. Yeah.
It would be like me trying to throw Jack over my shoulder and throwing him down to the ground is what essentially happened yesterday. And LeBron is rolling around like Shaquille O'Neal just bench pressed him and threw him to the ground. I mean, Chris Paul couldn't pick him up on a squat bar. And LeBron goes flying in the air, rolling around in pain, holding his shoulder.
Writhing.
I mean, this guy, bro, the acting, it's just, it has become unbearable.
Yeah.
I mean, it's become like almost like, get up.
Right.
Jeez, bro.
Even after the eye thing when he got poked, I dreamed, I'm like, go get up.
I'm trying to debate what was worse. The eye poke where he said he saw 3 rims on the free throw, so he aimed for the one in the middle, Like, bro, come on, man. Give me a break. But Phoenix and the Suns take game 1 over LeBron and the Lakers 99-90. We will talk about the playoffs with Darnell Lazare of the New Orleans Pelicans coming up here at 8:30 this morning. Darnell also spent some time in Memphis and was around during the Ja Morant draft pick, and has that worked out as Ja and the Grizzlies get game 1 over Utah last night in the opening round of that series. So lots to get to here on the Jordy Culotta Show. Jim Hawthorne coming up at 7:30. Tom Hart, 8 a.m. Wilson Alexander, 8:15. Darnell Lazare coming up at 8:30. We've got an update on Benifer, as it seems like it is back.
They are so back.
They're hot and heavy, bro.
They were in Miami this weekend.
Here's
They're
my
so
question.
back.
Were they? This thing looks like this might have been happening
A little orchestrated, a little bit
before A-Rod and
100%.
J-Lo officially called it quits.
Someone asked the question, and they said Ben reached out to her after the breakup, needing a friend.
She's 50.
Oh, the friend. What a. Oh.
Yeah, she's 51. He's 48.
She looks like, wow.
right?
Yes.
She
Yes,
sold
she
her
does
soul
look like
for
wow.
something.
Something.
Yeah.
Something.
It's A-Rod's products, dude. That's what she's been using.
Yeah.
That's so bizarre.
We'll talk about the latest in the A-Rod and J-Lo drama coming up.
Is there a
here.
bigger, like, not to make us talk about this right now, but like a bigger, I don't know, like contradiction between two people than Ben Affleck and Alex Rodriguez?
No.
Like, yeah.
No.
It's crazy.
No, I mean it's.
Yeah,
You think?
I get. I mean, what do you mean?
I mean, in
Because
terms of like, look at how A-Rod primps and prods himself and makes himself look very attractive. Like he very much tries.
Yeah, and
and
Affleck's
Ben
got a
Affleck
fat tat, he's
tattoo and
smoking in
smoke a
public.
cigarette. Yeah,
Yeah, I guess so.
Like
I
they're
guess that's true.
opposites.
Yeah, I guess so. We don't really know what Ben's doing behind closed doors, though. He looks good too. I think. Do y'all not think he looks good?
There's some
Oh,
pictures out
I
there
mean,
where he looks dumpy.
Well,
I
there's
was-
some pictures out there where everybody looks dumpy.
I will
Not
say
Lloyd.
this, especially
Not me.
well, I mean, especially if they're taking your picture all the time. If they're hiding out and taking your picture,
Yeah.
you're gonna catch them in a moment. That don't look
Post
right.
bender.
Totally.
Yeah, he's got
Give me that
20
damn camera.
I mean, there's plenty of weird pictures of J-Lo out there too.
Are they?
No.
Yes, you're always gonna dig up some. There's somebody snapping a picture of her cellulite or whatever it is everybody wants to see on her.
I will say this: City on the Hill on Showtime, that is directed by Matt Damon and Ben Affleck, is great television.
They're a great team. They always
They
have
don't
been.
miss.
They don't miss.
They
man.
don't.
And I will say this: that it is great to watch a television show that is not PC in 2021. I mean, it is. I mean, like it is
It's
very
that Showtime money, man.
It is very 1999-ish.
Well, that's their dude. Yeah, that's their honey hole.
That is.
Entourage feeling.
Yeah.
you know
It's
what
that
I mean?
early
Just-
HBO market.
Yes, I mean, they're
You
still
show
there,
anything
man.
on TV?
Story
Saw a
of the
nipple last
weekend.
night.
Yeah, that's right. Story of the weekend is Phil Mickelson, right?
White boy summer.
The 103rd PGA Championship over in South Carolina. Mickelson won his 6th major championship. An astounding, check this out, 2,863 days after winning his final round, 1/73 in his last major championship, which was the 2013 Open Championship. At 50 years old, 11 months and 7 days, Mickelson broke the previous record held by Julius Boros, who won the PGA Championship at 48 years old back in 1968. He was the co-leader through 36 holes and the solo leader through 54 holes. The day started yesterday, very memorable for Lefty, as he was up and down with birdies and bogeys, but ended up in winner's circle at a 6-under, and which was a pretty cool story going into the summer for the PGA. As Phil Mickelson, if you look at the last 2 PGA winners, this was a pretty cool tweet that I saw yesterday that came out talking about the last 2 PGA Championship winners in 2020. Colin Morikawa was 23 years old in his 2nd major start and was the winner of the PGA Championship. In 2021, Phil Mickelson was in his 112th major start and 50 years old.
Lefty, man.
Just to give you the idea, that to me is what makes golf great.
That's what golf is. You can always pop.
That's what makes golf great, is that you can be 50 years old, taking on a 23-year-old, and win the tournament. And that's what Phil did over the weekend. So shout out to Phil. Shout out to golf. I thought that was a nice
What a
little
scene,
I mean,
dude.
It's the
Shout out
coolest
to
course.
golf.
I mean,
That was so
to
nice.
catch that energy without Tiger Woods in a major championship
have-
field, that is something that I don't even think golf executives could have imagined.
No,
I
it
don't
has
think
to-
that they imagine that they could have gotten that type of spike rating in a major championship without Tiger Woods.
It has to be Phil. He's the only one person that can pop like that for the old heads that still enjoy golf, like people, people that are my dad's age that grew up watching these people play and people before them. Phil is an absolute titan of what golf used to be and is, and he's the only person that can still get the ratings like that because he is Tiger-esque. He has that feel and draw to him where nobody saw that coming, dude. You couldn't have told me. I wouldn't even think Phil would have made the cut.
No doubt.
And then he's out there winning.
I don't know if Phil thought
he was going to
make the cut.
Shit, played good. Hell yeah. I'll tee it down again.
Might keep this thing moving through the weekend.
But also kudos to Phil for changing his body and making it absolute strides because
he looked good.
Even at 50, that's hard to do.
Phil was the original, the Seinfeld, he needs a bra for a man. That's who people thought Phil was. He had big old titties out there, and now he's slimmed down and drinks coffee and took advantage of everything that science has to offer these days.
What does drinking coffee have to do?
I don't know. That's what it's he drank coffee for a week straight, and that's all he drank was this weird coffee blend.
What?
And he lost 18 pounds. So
Yeah.
So he really went all in on the science stuff, kind of like Tom Brady-esque, and it paid off, and he won.
He looks significantly better at 50 than he did at 40.
Yes, he looked like he was out.
50's a new 40.
I guess so, man. Would that make 40 the new 30?
The sunglasses, the
50's the new
tan.
30.
The shades.
He looked cool.
I'm telling you, man, he looked good. And he won the tournament with a
The people's champ, dude. They were.
Place was
it
rowdy.
was a mosh pit.
That to me is another story of the weekend.
Crowds.
Is crowds. I was watching the Knicks and the
Solely,
Atlanta
I watched
Hawkins.
Knicks solely for the crowd.
Me too. The Hawks-Knicks playoff game, you forget what and how intense a live crowd can be in that type of setting with chance of defense and people stomping their feet and getting in. And not only that, the end of the Knicks game with Trae Young in shaking up the Knicks' top two defenders, getting to the rim and winning the game, and hearing 15,000 people go from max decibels to silence. I mean, a lot of cool moments. And then the PGA Championship with all the crowds and all the reactions and all the things that we were watching there. Sports are back.
Dude, it felt like it. Big win.
Big win for the
COVID.
Had a bad weekend.
Dude, we thought COVID was on the ropes a couple of weeks ago. I think we took a couple body shots when it's on the mat, dude.
We're kicking it in its teeth on the ground.
Exactly. And the referee's just letting it happen.
Absolutely.
You get a couple shots and you're good.
Right. Go ahead. Anybody want to take a shot in the head to COVID?
You calling the crowd in,
It's foaming in the mouth back here.
Good.
Come get your shots in. So shout out to a great weekend for Phil Mickelson. And then LSU baseball, man. Tigers needed 2 of 3 from
Thursday
Texas A&M
rough,
weekend.
man.
It was, man. Well, I mean, the start of that series to kind of limp into Friday and Saturday with some confidence after the way that Thursday shook out. Really, I thought said a lot about this team. I mean, I thought that they were going to wither up and fold and come back here and lose all opportunity. I didn't even know if they're going to make it to Hoover.
It could have been easy.
But they were able to get 2 of 3, battled over there in College Station, and get the win and set themselves up as a 9 seed in the SEC tournament. They'll take on Georgia tomorrow. Expected time to go around 4:30 first pitch over in Hoover, which is expecting crowds over at the SEC baseball tournament. So LSU will be there, and this is usually where Mainieri does his best work. I mean,
he loves the SEC tournament.
This time of the year, towards the end of the year, he usually has them playing right and has them focused and calibrated for a run here in postseason, and it usually starts in Hoover, and LSU is going to get into the field as the 8 seed and will open up play versus Georgia tomorrow at the Hoover Met. That game will be televised on the SEC Network, but a lot of things that we thought were impossible for this baseball team to accomplish a couple of weeks back, they are trending in the right direction in certain areas towards this time of the year. Does it mean that they can get on a run and make a push? I still don't know if I believe or trust in their bullpen and their arms, but like I said, if they are still standing after Hoover, I'm not going to be surprised because Mainieri has done this so many times before to where he has just worked magic in this part of the team, in this part of the season, and it seems like he's got this team working in the right direction as well.
Did we announce starters for the game?
I have not seen.
Because Marceaux had the short outing, so I think this is kind of what for all the flack he took, he's like, look, we're going to win 2 of 3 because M'Khail Hilliard has been dominant on Sunday, dude. or Saturday, I guess, whatever final start.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's been dominant in game
Third
3. Yes. So I think he kind of felt comfortable going into that, knowing like, all right, if we can pull this thing off, get 2 of 3 in the last 2, I can throw Marceaux back on the bump for the SEC tournament, get a win there.
You're out of your school
Yeah.
if you're not starting.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I think it's a pretty. I mean, he took all of that in the face. Like he took a browbeating for what he did by pulling Marceaux and not winning game 1. But
Hey,
it looks like he kind of had a strategy there.
Yeah, no, he
He was
did.
playing chess while they were playing checkers.
And I thought that he handled it well, man. I mean, and the way that LSU handled the weekend obviously was enormous to set them up in Hoover and give themselves a chance at postseason life. How about Beth Tarina and her crew yesterday in a rowdy Tiger
Talk about
Park?
crowds, dude.
I mean, I'm telling you, man, it is back. It feels right. It feels like everybody is ready to be outside. The weather is ticking right now, so here we are in Memorial Day week. We will start that off here, and everybody kind of buzzing in the right direction of getting back out and supporting with crowds. As 7th-ranked LSU yesterday took a winner-take-all game in the Baton Rouge Regional over UL Lafayette. They won the game 8-5 yesterday to win the Baton Rouge Regional and advance to the Super Regional for the 9th time in school history. And Beth Tarina has done it again as LSU will face Florida State. The Super Regional will be next weekend at Tiger Park. So if you're looking for something to do on Memorial Day weekend, if you don't have plans to get away and head to the beach and head to the coast, Tiger Park will be a great form of entertainment with Florida State coming in this weekend for a 3-game set and a chance to move on to the softball World Series for Beth Tarina. So congratulations to Coach Tarina and her crew.
I'll give UL
for taking
fans,
care
they
of
made the
business.
trip to Baton Rouge. Even for softball, they made the trip.
I think anytime you can give Lafayette an excuse to get to Baton Rouge for a competitive scene, especially where they feel like they got a chance, they're coming in.
Yeah.
I mean, were you here for the first round of the NIT a couple
No.
of years ago? That was as hostile of a sports environment that I have seen, and it wasn't even full capacity. I mean, there was the feeling between the Cajun program, the basketball program, Will Wade and his program in year 1, some of the things that were being said back and forth in the media between Bob Marlin and Will Wade, some of the things that were happening on the floor.
It was a public spat. Like it played out very publicly, and like you could tell by I went to that game, and I don't usually get tickets to stuff, so I was happy to be there. And you could tell there was animosity. Not only I don't even think it was on the court between the two teams, between the two coaches, dude. Those coaches were going at it, and it's a lot of it gives me the same like Nate Oates vibes. You know, it's like It has that Will Wade like kind of I don't like you at all, dude.
Right. Go ahead and say something.
Say something.
Yeah, say something.
I'm
See
taking
what
it to the
happens.
podium.
And then LSU football over the weekend moves in as the Tigers really and truly begin their push for next season as this class of 2021 so highly decorated. And some of the things that have come out during this recruiting process is wild to think about. Ogeron and the coaching staff in some situations and some in some examples on Saturday laid their eyes for the first time on some of these incoming freshmen. If you think about the way that recruiting has gone over the last calendar year, no official visits, no on-campus camps in off-season, which is a lot of the evaluation period and where a lot of the offers go out in college football. You've had no opportunities for coaches to be on high school campuses over the last year. All this stuff has been done digitally. All this stuff has been done via Zoom, via video conference, and that's how all of this evaluation is taking place for not only LSU football, for all college football programs around the country. And LSU welcomed in their class of 2021 yesterday. And for the first time, some of these coaching staff were getting their first chance to take a look at some of these guys, which is wild to think about. I mean, it's just crazy for as much as we hear about how much the lifeblood and lifeline of a college football program is on recruiting. That some of these guys like Greg Penn III that comes in from Maryland, or the big junior college offensive guard out of Florida, McAnally, Savion Jones from just down in St. James, I mean, some of these guys have yet really to be on campus and experience the true recruiting format that college football abides by year in, year out. It's just been wacky the last 365 days, but that as they will have a ton of expectation when you speak about the position groups that are coming in this class. The wide receivers are probably the best in the country when you talk about the group of signees that are headlined by Chris Hilton Jr. out of Zachary and Brian Thomas out of Walker. And then you have guys like Malik Neighbors, who I think when you can look up and Neighbors could really be the steal of the class. Neighbors, a one-time Mississippi State commit, had to sit out his senior year of football due to some eligibility rules with the LHSAA. He had bounced around and moved schools and was deemed ineligible his senior season. So he didn't play his final year of high school football and was a guy going into that season that was very highly touted. He committed to Mississippi State. There was some discussion on whether or not he'd be a defensive back or a wide receiver at the next level, but he is way too explosive to be without the ball in his hands. So Neighbors, a wide receiver as well, coming in that class. And then Jack Besh, who, we talked to Mickey Joseph a couple of weeks back, and he was talking about that Jake Peets and the offensive staff already have a package implemented for Besh. They already are prepared for him to be on campus just because of his versatility in a class that is dripping with talent at the wide receiver spot. And I'm talking, you got everything. You got size, you got speed in Brian Thomas, you got speed, game-changing speed in Chris Hilton, who looks like he's getting the size as well.
You ever see his track highlights?
Unbelievable.
Yeah, he's running by himself.
Yeah.
Malik Neighbors is potentially, like I said, the steal of the class. And then Jack Besh, to me, comes in as well refined and as well of a route runner and pass catcher that LSU has brought in as a true freshman that I can recall. I mean, just he's not as flashy, he's not as game breaking as maybe some of these other guys are, but he is just
good possession receiver.
He catches everything. He has this Josh Reed quality to him, where if you remember Josh Reed, he was the Biletnikoff winner with LSU back in 2001. He was always open. For whatever reason, defensive coordinators were going into the game with the idea and the game plan of taking Josh Reed out of the game, and you'd look up in the postgame, and he'd have 11, 12, 13 catches for 200 yards and
2
touchdowns.
touchdowns.
Just murders you.
Well,
I mean, like Jack Besh had those same types of numbers. I remember talking to Gabe Fertitta, the Catholic high football head coach, who moved on and is now coaching wide receivers at Louisville. The week that they played St. Thomas More last season, Catholic High won the state title, and they played everybody. They played Carr, they played St. Thomas More. I mean, they played Acadiana, they played everybody. And he was talking about that their defensive game plan against St. Thomas More was to take Walker Howard's primary weapon away from him and just say, look, if you're going to lose, let Walker do it with somebody else. And they were double, triple teaming Besh. You could put the film on. And he's still just cutting Catholic High up. And I'm talking about against D1 high-quality players, high school football play. I mean, it's not doing it against a couple of Sigma Chi's.
Yeah, this ain't a homecoming game.
I mean, it's not some frat kids on the other side of it. I mean, he is cutting this team up, and they're trying to take him away.
He had 3,000 career receiving yards in high school. That's unreal.
He's underrated for
Look
sure.
at his basketball highlights.
Yeah, he'll yam on you.
Oh, just a dual threat.
Put it on your face, man. And like Mickey Joseph said, Mickey Joseph said on this show a couple of weeks back, there's already a package implemented for Besh.
Awesome.
Like, there's no discussion of him redshirt in a class that has studs everywhere. And one of these guys is not going to play.
There's not enough people. There's not enough room on the field.
There's not enough footballs.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I mean, one of these guys, for as talented as they are, is not going to play. And you've heard the wide receivers coach say publicly that Besh ain't the one that's going to be sitting. I mean, he's going to be playing. So it'll be interesting, man.
Well, yeah, and when we had Besh on after we told him about the package. He obviously already knew about it, but he was like, yeah, no, I heard about the package, but I'll be doing more than that. Like, he was very confident in his ability to get on the field early because they talked about like a tight end hybrid kind of role for him. He's like, no, I'll be doing more than just being like a big body out there. Like, he's going to come in and play.
So stick around because we're going to talk about impact guys, because wide receiver is not the only group that's going to have a chance here. The running back room is going to have a significant opportunity when you talk about Armani Goodwin and our guy who we talked to, Corey Kiner, last week, coming in this true freshman class. Both those cats are going to have opportunities to make an impact on the running back room. You talk about these defensive backs, guys like Sage Ryan, Matthew Langlois, even Major Burns, who's considered in this class. He's one of the 25 for the class of 2021 after he transferred in to LSU last week from Georgia. And then there's a ton of smoke, no pun intended, around Arik Gilbert that he is going to be in this, that he'll be back at LSU.
Get those grades up?
Get the grades up, and then yet to be determined on his eligibility. But I've heard a lot of people inside that program. In fact, I've already heard that he's going to be wearing number 82. Like people have people have told me that he's already got a new number.
Should go 84.
Because that's what he's aiming for every test. 82.
Dude, he's in that intercession. We talked about intercession, dude. Right. That's the time to get those intercession C's, dude.
I'm just here to learn, baby.
Yeah.
He's got a long way to go personally, but if he can get it right on the football field, you've got a 5-star and
another athlete,
just an incredible pass-catching tight end.
Question. I mean, if he's returning, you have so many wide receivers. And running back, it's just an endless question mark until proven. Just throw the ball more, right? Wouldn't you think?
I think with getting Jake Peets, Joe Brady's understudy back here, there will be a major push to get the ball to these guys in space and just let them make plays.
I'd be playing like it's flag football. I'm just be throwing it every time to those guys.
Absolutely. Daily here, we are brought to you by Advanaclean. I don't know where to start when I give you today's live
Unreal.
on Advanaclean. My guy, Bradley Lynch, man. I always thought it was cool that I sent him a text message on Christmas Day and he came over. It's a lot more than that when you get the Advanaclean experience. I have gotten the Advanaclean experience. We took on some water last week over at the house, and like I said, Bradley was there within 30 minutes of the morning of the phone call. He had to navigate a city that was drenched and soaked and road blocked, and he got to the house. And once he got to the house, he did the thing that I tell you every single day that Advanaclean does. Now I can tell you from a personal experience that they take the entire headache out of the process. I mean, I was walking around my house, swishing water with my feet in my living room, almost like a zombie.
Like Blue Bayou.
I mean, just kind of like just looking up in the ceiling, start thinking about what the hell am I going to do? I mean, what is going to happen? And Lynch and Bradley Lynch and Advanaclean came in there and took all the concern away. I mean, they really did. I mean, they've worked directly with the insurance company. They worked directly with the flood insurance. They got workers and a crew over to the house within 24 hours, had the baseboards and the walls taken down along with the sheetrock. They've got everything now drying out with dehumidifiers inside of the house. It's unbelievable. The efficiency, the passion, the energy that Bradley Lynch has. My guy is a machine, and a lot of our city is affected right now with floodwaters in the house. I would encourage you to take and try the Advanaclean experience, because I am telling you firsthand from somebody who had water in their house that it is a absolute peace of mind that you cannot purchase. You cannot buy the peace of mind and just the safety that he provides in that moment when, somebody like me, I'm clueless. If it was on me, there'd probably still be water in the living room.
Without a doubt.
And Lynch really took that and took it to the next level. And we are grateful to him. And I'm telling you, if you have been touched, if you have been affected by the floodwaters, get in touch with Advanaclean. It will save you peace of mind, and your job will be on the road to recovery very, very soon. Online, ADVANTA, clean.com. Give me 30 seconds. I'm coming back with the voice, Jim Hawthorne. We're going to remember Skip Bertman, which tonight on the SEC Network, Hold the Rope debuts. It will be an hour documentary looking back at LSU baseball under the direction of Skip Bertman, where do you start? Jim Hawthorne was there on day one. He was there on the last day of Skip Bertman leaving, not only as the LSU head baseball coach, but also the LSU athletics director. We will talk to him about that entire experience next here on the Jordy Culotta Show, brought to you daily by Go Chevrolet. Are you self-employed? Then you need to learn about Angel Oak's Home Loans Bank Statement program that they're offering, which makes you eligible as a self-employed borrower to purchase or refinance a home without requiring a tax return. If you want to learn more, get in touch with me. Email me, jordy@jordyculotta.show.com, to learn about the bank statement loan program offered by Angel Oak. jordy@jordyculotta.show.com to learn more. Gearing up for spring and summer down here in South Louisiana, and you want to keep your lawn maintained during these sunny seasons, get in touch with our friend Blake Abear over at Abear's Lawn Maintenance, where he says, you grow it, I mow it. 225-485-8022. 225-485-8022 is where you can find Abear's Lawn and Maintenance, the official lawn and maintenance company of the undisclosed location.
Well, folks, it's time to kick it old school. So you can feel cool. Give it to me, baby. Baby. Yeah.
Another piece of LSU football news, Pig Cage. Great name, bro.
Great name.
LSU's got great names on this team. Quentin Cage, he goes by Pig Cage, announced on social media. Pig.
How do you get that nickname?
Cage?
Pig.
Why? Why is that his nickname? I need to know.
I don't know. We'll find out. Cage told The Advocate on Friday that he's enrolling at LSU and joining Ed Ogeron's program as a preferred walk-on after a solid freshman season with Nicholls State last season, where the Pig accumulated 30 tackles.
Oh, because he hogs the ball, dude. Yeah, that's what it is.
The puns.
I'm nervous after Dare Evans in the Mississippi State game.
Yeah.
Cautious on this one.
You could have some fun with the radio calls with a name like Pig Cage.
What's his real name, though?
Quentin.
Quentin Cage?
Quentin Cage.
Put you in a cage, dude.
Lock you up.
Yeah.
One of the great voices, one of the great faces, one of the great personalities of our state that goes all the way back to the hayrides back in North Louisiana, covering Elvis Presley in the early days, Jerry Lee Lewis on the music scene, and now music is the passion that has always been there. He has created so many moments for LSU fans. Many of the baseball moments that you relive, you re-see, and you feel with Skip Bertman. You hear the voice, Jim Hawthorne, narrating those memories. He was there for all 5 of Skip's national championships. In fact, he was there from the early days when Skip got to Baton Rouge. He is now very passionate about his music and, in fact, has recorded a song about tonight's documentary, Hold the Rope, all centered around Skip Bertman. Jim Hawthorne, who is very talented beyond the microphone and calling sports, he goes into music, has recorded a great song about Skip Bertman and Hold the Rope. And hopefully tomorrow we can play that for you here on the Jordy Culotta Show. But this morning we will relive some memories with the voice. Good morning, sir. It's great to talk to you.
Well, thank you very much. I appreciate those kind words.
Yes, sir. When you hear the name Skip Bertman, Jim Hawthorne, what do you think?
A winner. He was a winner.
Where did you first meet him? And when
Well,
did
I
you
was
realize?
working. Okay, I was working at another radio station when I first came to Baton Rouge, and doing football and basketball. And the decision was made, okay, we need to probably maybe try to do baseball. And so this guy named Skip Bertman showed up, and he went out on the streets to help us sell it. And so, I knew right away that this man, Skip Bertman, was something unique and pretty special. And so we started off doing, I think, like 10 games, I believe, the first year that we did that. And that was in 1984, I think. And then we went to the conference games the next year, and in the third year we went to all of them. And so I was very, very fortunate to have the opportunity to watch him grab hold of the LSU baseball program and turn it into this something that was just exceptional. And it was a real pleasure and a thrill for me to be a part of it.
Was it an immediate bolt of lightning? Did you know instantly that things were going to change when you met him, or did it take a while for him to implement?
Yeah, it took a while. I mean, the baseball was just at that time was something that they did when they didn't have anything else to do at LSU. Very honestly, but I mean, he was intent that he was going to do it and then get it done, and he did. And so I was just fortunate enough to be there and go along for the ride. But I mean, it was a real pleasure for me to watch him put this all together, and I was so fortunate to be a part of all 5 of the College World Series championships and the SEC championships, and many of his 870 wins. Think about that when you say that. 870 wins he had.
Jim, you have a radio background. You were running radio stations very successfully when you came to LSU as the voice. Tell our listeners about some of the creative ways that Skip was selling his program to the public. It was very radio promotion type style of getting out and greeting and really kind of touching and having access to the public of the early days of creating this LSU baseball buzz.
Well, he did, and he was not. He didn't shy away from doing the things that he felt like needed to be done to accomplish the goal that he was headed towards. And one good example of that was selling signs on a fence at LA Box Stadium, which never been done. And he just was one of those guys that when he set his mind to doing something, he would rather do it than beg for forgiveness. Rather than say, "Can I do this?" or this sort of thing, and so it was really something. I'll never forget. The going to Omaha and just so many things that there was games. I read the story in the paper today about reminded me of the series over at Texas A&M, and what an incredible experience that was, and just on and on it goes. I can get lost in my thoughts thinking back over that.
Do you have a team that stands out from him? Because I think all those national championship teams have a personality. I love how they all different in their celebrations with their uniforms. When you look back on the pictures of 91, 93, 96, 97, 2000, they all look different with their uniforms. But when you look back and just think back on the individual teams that you saw him put together year in, year out, is there one that stands out?
Well, I look at the 96 team because of that miracle.
Sure.
That happened, the Warren Morris home run that won the national championship, which was the most stunning thing that I'd ever did have the opportunity to try to describe. That was real magic there. There's no question about that. And each team had its own little particular personality, but in amongst that was always Skip Bertman's personality, and how to do things, and how he handled his players and the things that he did to build the program was just a magical time for LSU athletics.
How do you think his impact on baseball affects it today? I mean, when you see teams like Tennessee and Kentucky and Georgia and teams that habitually have not been competitive in college baseball, how much do you think Skip's vision in the early 80s, even Ron Polk, being alongside Ron Polk, how much those continue to affect and impact the game today?
Well, I think there's no question about it. That was the thing that, in Skip's mind, one of his goals was Mississippi State was probably, when you thought, back in those days when he first got here, when you thought about SEC baseball, Mississippi State was the team that probably was more solid in that department than anybody else. And Skip was determined to get, believe it or not, to get LSU to the level that Mississippi State was playing and beyond that. And he and Polk were good friends. But that was one of the things that he really wanted to do. And I'll tell you a quick little story about what kind of an effect that he had in Southeastern Conference baseball. I don't remember exactly what year it was, but LSU was playing at Auburn. And Auburn, it was one of the first games in Auburn's new baseball facility that they built there. And I just happened to be down on the field when Polk was talking to his players around home plate, and I heard him say, "Guys, I want you to look around at this stadium that we're about to play in here." And he says, "Then I want you to look over there in that other dugout. Skip Bertman is the reason that we were able to build this ballpark."
Wow.
So that pretty much tells it there.
Yeah. Jim Hawthorne, the voice of the Tigers and the voice of 5 national championships of college baseball's Mecca program, LSU, all of them, 91, 93, 96, 97, 2000, even Paul Mainieri's in 2009. You also developed a song and produced a song for tonight. I think a lot of our listeners will recognize your passion for music. You hosted a country radio show right when you got out of the play-by-play box, but still something that you pay attention to daily, and produced a song about tonight's documentary, which is titled Hold the Rope, and is all featured on Skip Bertman. It'll be an hour on the SEC Network. Tell us a little bit about the song and the writing process and what went into it.
Well, I just knew what a magical thing it was to see what was going on with LSU baseball, and so I've always loved music, and that is something that I've done. Kind of people that don't know much about what I did, or it doesn't really matter. But so I wanted to do I just wanted to do a song, and so I took the melody of the song "You'll Never Walk Alone," and I wrote words to fit, Hold the Rope and Skip Bertman's philosophy and everything that I could get to rhyme and make it fit the melody. And so, it is to the tune of the song I'm sure you're familiar with, "You'll Never Walk Alone."
Sure.
And and in the song, I mentioned you'll never have to hold a rope alone. And so, yeah, I'll get that to you if you're going to play it. And,
I do want to, yeah, for sure.
Sure, be glad to.
Yeah, and we will play it for our listeners, because I know a lot of people out there would love to hear. How will you watch tonight? I guess just in the comforts of your own home, will you take in tonight's broadcast?
I will do that, and that's one of the great advantages of being retired, of being able to do that. And so, yeah, I'm really very much looking forward to it, and see how it's put together and what they use, and I know it's going to be very entertaining and something that people will really enjoy.
Just on a personal note for our listeners, just to update Jim, I know a lot of people were invested in helping you out in 2016 when you were affected by the floodwaters that came through South Louisiana. A lot has been affected in our community over the last month. everything's safe and sound on your end, correct?
Yeah, thank you very much for asking. But we were among those most fortunate that we had no problems here. But I do know that our neighbors and people that live in around our area here certainly went through some hard times. And my goodness, those folks over at Lake Charles, that's just amazing what's been happening with those folks over there. And I have a great deal of empathy for them, but we were among the fortunate ones and had no problems whatsoever.
And I'd be remiss if I didn't ask you at least one question about our mutual friend who announced over the weekend, Charles Hannegriff, that he is stepping away from radio and moving into another business venture. You have called for as many baseball and memories as you have called for LSU. A lot of those, the majority of those, were with Charles Hannegriff sitting right to your right side. Just a thought from you on Hannegriff as he moves along in the business.
Well, let me follow up what we were talking about the flooding. Charlie, two things. In addition to helping me with so many radio broadcasts, two things that really stand out for me about Hannegriff is his wife picked my wife and I up when they dropped us off after getting us out of this flood, and we stayed with Charlie.
That's right.
For 2 or 3 days, and then he was able to help me find a condo that we could live in until they got our house. So he really, really helped me there. And then the other thing that I'll never forget is I was in Nashville having just some problems with I don't know exactly what it was, but I had wasn't feeling well, and he took me to the emergency room, and I said, okay. They said, okay, you're fine. Here's some pills, and go get them. And so I did, and he took me to a drugstore, and I got the prescription filled. And as I was walking back to hit the car, I fell and broke my shoulder.
Wow.
In Nashville. So he had to take me back to the hospital. And the next day, I did a doubleheader with a broke shoulder.
Wow.
And Charlie helped me through that. I lost my ID. He threatened to whip everybody in the airport if they didn't let me get on the airplane because I had a broke shoulder and lost my.
You know who this man is.
yeah. So he's my man.
No,
and Charlie not only did a great job and does a great job on the radio, but he's just a good person.
There he is. Jim, it's great to hear your voice.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it.
Great to talk to you, and I'll be picking up that CD soon, sir. Enjoy tonight.
I'll bring it back.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Bye.
There's Jim Hawthorne checking in, the voice, as he remembers Skip Bertman, who will be on tonight's documentary, Hold the Rope, which everybody is looking forward to.
How often do you think he'll be on
SEC
it?
Network. I asked him, and they didn't specifically interview him for this project.
Really?
But I imagine that his voice will be
That's
all
what I was.
over
That's more
the
what I
calls.
was asking.
I mean,
Yeah.
just more or less. When you think about miraculous calls, or you think about Hawthorne, the first thing that jumps to mind out of so many memories that were created with him on the microphone. I mean, remember, for a 19-year span, Jim Hawthorne was the only guy, not in the SEC, in the country that was doing baseball, basketball, and football play-by-play for one university. He was the only
Pioneer.
guy.
Swiss Army.
Only guy. I mean, there's other schools that have guys that just do baseball and they have somebody do football and basketball. Or they'll have somebody just do basketball and somebody do football and baseball. Hawthorne did football, basketball, and baseball. And I would say that when you think of Hawthorne and his time at LSU, the first call that you're going to think of are baseball calls. And the Warren Morris call is obviously the one that he was referencing there with the 96 miracle of Morris hitting the home run in the national championship versus Miami to elevate LSU to their third national championship under Skip Bertman.
Or Alex Cora.
Yep. But so many memories from Hawthorne that you think back on and you just hear his voice decorated over these vivid images, and a lot of those were baseball images that came to play, and they were also with Charles Hannegriff sitting right to his right side. And I can't let today go by without saying something publicly about Charles Hannegriff and the news that came over the weekend that he's stepping away from daily radio over at Guarantee Media. And to me, Charles Hannegriff is a mentor to the highest level. Hannegriff is the guy that I would call just overwhelmingly, just would annoy, aggravate. He came up with the nickname for me as the Stalker. I mean, he calls me the Stalker still to this day because of the way I hounded him to hire me 12 years ago, 11 years ago. And in those 10 years of working alongside Hannegriff, just the day-to-day professionalism and learning how to do the trade of radio cannot be explained, cannot be detailed in what he taught me during that time. He's also a great friend who I have gone to, like Jim Hawthorne just described him. Hawthorne and Hannegriff probably called over 1,000 LSU baseball games together. And Hawthorne didn't tell one story about one game. It was about his friendship. And I think really that is essential Charles Hannegriff. That is really kind of who he is. He's a great guy to have a beer with. He's a great guy to sit at a bar and talk sports with. You think you know sports. You think you know the history of sports. This cat is an encyclopedia of knowledge. And when you start talking specifically about LSU sports, you can forget it. He knows stuff and remembers stuff, and his recall on certain games and memories, and especially things that he called, is almost quarterback-esque. You heard Brad Johnson come here a couple of weeks back and recall plays during certain drives of games and could remember down distance and times on the clock. Hannegriff has that type of recall memory
spades
in sports and can give you dates, times, quarters, players' numbers, stats, all what you're looking for in one discussion. It is clockwork. If I have a question about anything historical on anything that I may be weary on, I text Hannegriff, and within you can start seeing it bubble before it even delivers.
Happy to help.
You know what I mean? I mean, he's an encyclopedia of sports knowledge, and he is he's a great mentor and a great friend, and somebody who has told me in my life, he has been somebody that told me, shut the bleep up. You know what I mean? Somebody that can tell you and be real with you, that I'll always appreciate. I will always, always be so thankful for what Hannegriff did for me, just in mentoring and professional guidance and just being somebody that would tell me, shut the bleep up. You know what I mean? What are you doing, man? You're acting like an asshole. You know what I mean? Someone that could tell you directly, love, don't handle it like that. That's not the way to do it, man. And can look you in your eyes and know that he's trying to not only coach you up, but he's giving you the best advice and wants you to be your best. He's not trying to hurt you. He's not trying to roadblock you. He's trying to help you, but he's got the direct confidence to tell you, shut the bleep up, man. I mean, this is how it needs to be. So I will always remember and be thankful for Hanny and some of the radio that him and Jimmy Ott have produced. To me, is in this market, it'll never be as good. I think that when you think of radio broadcasters in the Baton Rouge market, I think the Mount Rushmore is Hannegriff is probably your leadoff, with Ott and Buddy Sanji and Richard Condon and those guys that paved the way for guys like us.
OGs.
Guys like Matt Moscona and me and T-Bob and Jacob Hester and all those guys. I mean, Hannegriff is as much of a titan in this industry as this city has ever produced. So to see him walking away from it every single day is a huge story for the entertainment market of Baton Rouge and sports radio. But I don't think that he is gone for good. I think that he'll continue some of his post-game duties, and him and Jimmy will be doing some evenings. But he will be working over at Match Point, which we have talked about. Match Point is an app that is helping pair student athletes with.
That's what Match Point is.
Is pairing student athletes with businesses with
Name, image, likeness.
Name, image, and likeness. And it's a great concept. Henry Hayes, who is a local businessman here in town, has got a great board of directors behind him. Brian Oliver, who is a very successful businessman here in Baton Rouge, is a part of it. Brandon Landry and that crew is in on it. So it's got a lot of stability on the back end, and it is on the front side of a wide open space, of just a space that is untapped and really is looking for a little bit of protocol and direction.
When you pitched that, when we were talking about it like a week ago, saying what that app was, I couldn't stop thinking about it. It's just such a good idea.
It's
a Tinder of name,
that's what
image,
it
and
is.
like, it's awesome.
Yeah, that's what it is. I mean, it's a dating app for NIL. You know, I mean, when you think about it.
And I couldn't think of a better person to kind of navigate that space for you if you need help in terms of knowing LSU athletics and who to go to and how to run those like avenues.
Hey,
it's
that guy's
Hannagriff, dude.
interested.
Yeah, I mean, he knows. Like, I worked with him for 2 years on Sports Today, and half of a producer's job is to come up with content. I never even had to worry about it because Charles was like,
No.
I'm ready to rock, dude.
And he was so fun. He's so fun.
He's funnier than you think he is, too. Oh, dude, unbuttoned Hannagriff, unhinged Hannagriff is hilarious.
And some of his dry wit.
Yes.
Is hysterical.
Yeah, it kind of talks down to you a little bit, which
yeah.
is great.
But
Like,
that's-
because
that's
I know
his- that's his
everything. He
deal.
knows
That's his
everything.
deal.
Yeah.
Right.
Don't test me, son.
But in a slow day is always when he's on his best.
Yes.
Like when you can get on a topic that people just want to chew on for hours on hours on hours, that usually comes from Hannagriff. He's usually got one of those, let's talk about what if X did this, but Y did that. You're like, oh, man, that's incredible. Let's talk about that next.
Takes me back
Yeah,
to, and you're just
exactly.
like, oh, well, you're sitting in your car, you don't turn it off.
That's right.
He was the best.
John Saul Spillers brings you Jordy Culotta Show every day here. Remember, you can find John Saul Spillers Dentist over in Gonzales. You can also find them in Baton Rouge. They've got a location here on Perkins Road, but they're also out on Papera Avenue in Gonzales. Stop in and see them. Remember, pediatric dentists, you can request your appointment online over at John Saul and Spillers. Got great social media as well if you want to find them there. Book your appointment online, johnsaulspillers.com. When we come back, we'll talk to the SEC Network's Tom Hart. Hart was on the call for LSU Baseball over the weekend. What was he thinking when Mainieri yanked Landon Marceaux on Thursday? We'll ask Tom Hart next. We'll also ask him about some of the offseason stories around these football programs that we saw LSU get moved in over the weekend. What are some of the storylines that he's tracking? We'll talk to Hart from the SEC Network next here on the Jordy Culotta Show, driven and powered every single day by Ghost Chevrolet. Self-employed? Then you need to learn about Angel Oak's Home Loans Bank Statement program that they're offering, which makes you eligible as a self-employed borrower to purchase or refinance a home without requiring a tax return. If you want to learn more, get in touch with me. Email me, jordy@jordyculotta.show.com, to learn about the bank statement loan program offered by Angel Oak. jordy@jordyculotta.show.com to learn more. Gearing up for spring and summer down here in South Louisiana, and you want to keep your lawn maintained during these sunny seasons, get in touch with our friend Blake Abear over at Abear's Lawn Maintenance, where he says, you grow it, I mow it. 225-485-8022, 225-485-8022 is where you can find Abear's Lawn and Maintenance, the official lawn and maintenance company of the undisclosed location. Go Chevrolet is proud to announce Go Express Auto Sales, the new used car lot located in the capital city of Baton Rouge, Louisiana, at 11522 Florida Boulevard. Go Express Auto Sales is online at goexpressautosales.com, or you can search them on Facebook and social media at Go Express Auto Sales, the newest addition to the family of Go Chevrolet. Remember, Go Chevrolet is located down in Laplace, Louisiana, but now welcoming aboard Go Express, the new used car lot located in Baton Rouge, Louisiana at 11522 Florida Boulevard. Are you self-employed? Then you need to learn about Angel Oak's Home Loans Bank Statement program that they're offering, which makes you eligible as a self-employed borrower to purchase or refinance a home without requiring a tax return. If you want to learn more, get in touch with me. Email me, Jordy at jordyculotta.show.com to learn about the bank statement loan program offered by Angel Oak. Jordy at jordyculotta.show.com to learn more.
Seven, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
You'll never have the sacred stone.
Oh, this you crazy mother.
Welcome back here to the Jordy Culotta Show, presented by Go Chevrolet here on this Monday morning. Stick around. We will talk to Wilson Alexander about LSU Baseball coming up. Also, Darnell Lazare from the New Orleans Pelicans will stop in, talk a little NBA playoffs as the Atlanta Hawks yesterday go into New York and sit down MSG with Trae Young's game winner at the end of it as the Hawks get past the Knicks. Over the weekend, LSU Baseball needed 2 of 3 to stay alive, and they got him over in College Station. On the call was our good buddy Tommy Hart from the SEC Network. One of the faces and voices of the SEC Network is Mr. Hart, and he's here with us on this Monday morning. Good morning, sir. How are you?
Fantastic, everybody. How are y'all doing today?
Doing good.
Pipes. He
Doing
still
good.
got him
Still
lubed
got
up.
him, man.
My
After
goodness.
a weekend of work sounds great. Sounds like he's about to
I
host it.
gargled some gravel this morning just to be ready to go with you guys.
Thank you, man.
We're used to that down
He's
here.
a gamer.
Yes.
When you saw Mainieri go out there and make the move on Marceaux, you were on the microphone. What were you thinking? Did you think that he was going to make the move to sitting there?
I was shocked. Now, in hindsight, we know that Marceaux was fatigued, but I didn't know what was going on. And part of that, let's be honest, there's an issue when you're not on site calling games. There's only so much information you get from coaches and SIDs when you have an 18-minute Zoom call. And Paul's always great, and he's very transparent with us. But the first reaction was, wait a second, there was a plan here that we weren't made aware of. And so we're going to look bad just guessing what that plan could be, which is the only road you can go down. Well, are they saving them for next week? Why would you save them? You got to win now. And so that was an immediate reaction. Fatigue makes sense. It's been a long year. We documented that he's been the workhorse when it comes to Friday night aces. There's only a handful of guys who have started every game one of an SEC series. He has the best ERA of any of those, including Kumar Rocker. And he's been probably the least appreciated or most underappreciated, I guess, Friday night guy in the league this year. So that takes a toll on you. And they needed to win games. They had to win that series to be in position to make it to the tournament. So there was a lot of questions going on when it happened. After the game, it made a little bit more sense.
There is a storyline here in South Louisiana that Mainieri works magic this time of the year and gets his team kind of focused and ready for this start of the run, and it usually starts in Hoover. Is that storyline prevalent outside of Baton Rouge, outside of Louisiana? Do you guys pay attention to that? Is there a reputation around LSU baseball for doing stuff like that outside of our listening area?
100%. And there's been a lot of examples of that with Paul, not just LSU, but going back to his Notre Dame days where, he took them to the College World Series. And they might get back there this year, by the way, but that is a rarity. I mean, Notre Dame doesn't play, did not play a schedule or did not have the horses to compete with national contenders. But you get a guy like Jeff Samardzija and some of the other dudes they had, and that was a really good program. The late run in the Notre Dame years made perfect sense, though, because they didn't get outside until late, or maybe they had a Florida trip where they really weren't firing on all cylinders against good Southern teams, and they built up to it. The LSU runs, the way I think of them, no matter who was playing for LSU, typically they're an upperclassman-led program. Not the case this year, but typically they are, and their best players are upperclassmen. And so they've been through the wars. They know what it's like to compete on a Friday night under the lights, big crowds. And so then they know what they need to do when it gets to, the postseason or close to it. And there's always a talisman, right? There's always some little piece of luck that happens to coincide with, a squirrel running on the field or a possum being thrown over the fence or gold jerseys or whatever it is. And that's been embraced, and that turns into a thing. So yeah, it makes perfect sense because historically LSU has done that. And I've said this before, and I'll tell you what, I talked to Kevin O'Sullivan about this. Like, Florida is a program that stands in stark contrast to LSU. The way Sully recruits and the way they put guys into the big leagues and first round picks is he can convince players to come there, do best for them individually, and therefore the team will win. So I'm going to simplify this, but in many ways, Florida plays with the name on the back of the jersey, where I always feel like LSU plays with the name on the front of the jersey. I mean, there's a reason that, the latest 30 for 30 is about LSU baseball. And the great premiere that they had last night, we'll see it tonight on SEC Network, at 6 o'clock Central. It's because it's been about the program, for 30 years, 40 years. And when you do that, you take pride in every game. And that's, I think, the secret to winning in Hoover. There's other programs who just say, well, let's just, let's go through the motions this week. Let's get everything set up for the regional and let's go from there. LSU doesn't treat it like that. They want to win.
You say all of those nice things, and I'm going to have to ask you this. There's a lot of sentiment around Baton Rouge with Paul Mainieri, and there's some thoughts that it might be his last year here. Is that the same view that you feel, or is it just Baton Rouge being Baton Rouge?
No, I think there's. I don't want to speak to what his future might be if there is a change, but I do believe that there is a major turn on the coaching carousel coming up in college baseball. The A&M job already open. They're going to fill that with not just a Power 5 guy, but a legit Power 5 guy. That's going to beget another opening, beget another bum, all the way down the line. The late Augie Garrido, who's a good friend of mine, got let go at Texas, whatever year that was, and that started a chain of like 6, 7, 8 guys either changed jobs or got raises and got over into the 7 figures. And it was like a 3-week period where everybody was getting paid. I think we'll see similar moves. So 2 thoughts about it. If the LSU job does come open, that is the premier job in college baseball. And
is it still, Tom? Is it still?
Yes, yeah, because for a number of reasons. But I think most important is you look at the landscape of college baseball and the programs that have had great success and the coaches that have had great success. I'm just trying to think here. Nobody has done it in a market where baseball is king. I'm not saying baseball is more important than football. That would be silly. We know that's not the case. Right. But where baseball is king in the sense that you are a big man on campus, and these are type A personalities who love to compete. They compete on the field. They compete on the recruiting trails. They compete everywhere they go, and they want to feel loved. And you could have a winning program that draws and be elite that draws only 2,500, 3,000 a game, or you can come to LSU and do it under the lights and be important to the entire state, not just one corner of your campus. And so I think that's a big reason why it would feel appealing, for sure. I just want to throw this out there. Like the hardest part for me and for my job, and we had this with Rob Childress this weekend, is you can hear rumors that a coach might be leaving. But we're not really, I'll peel the curtain back here. On the SEC Network, we're not there to break news, in many ways. Like we don't go digging to find out what the stories and rumors are. We can leave that for Feinbaum or somebody else. I mean, that's just the way it is. And I did talk to Rob about, the elephant in the room being his coaching future, and that was discussed a little bit. But because we don't do that, I feel like what we miss out on is the opportunity to give a great career retrospective for these guys who deserve it. And Paul's a Hall of Famer, and he's won 1,500 games, and he's got a national title under his belt, and he's motivated guys late in seasons to really turn it up, and he's put dudes in the big leagues. And so whatever happens, I just hope that everybody takes a step back and realizes, what he's done has been great, not just for the program at LSU and for Baton Rouge, but it's been great for college baseball. Everybody does it differently, and it's kind of like a funeral. Like it's almost like, well, once they're gone, then it's too late to show them how much they're appreciated, and it's usually a topic that we don't do too deep a dive on during a broadcast that would overshadow the game itself.
Tom, I saw where the SEC just distributed $23 million to each of the 14 institutions.
I didn't get any of that, did you?
I was about to say, if they grease some of the network, I was expecting my check in the mail over the next week. Is that what makes this thing what it is right now? Is that why we see Tennessee, Kentucky competitive in sports like baseball, and LSU starting to be consistently competitive in basketball? Is it just this the revenue that your network is generating for the conference that is really pushing it out in front to where it seems like it is starting to lap the field?
It's a major part of it. You can't separate it from the leadership in Birmingham, because that's the leadership is why they have all the money to spread around. The foresight, whether it's Greg Sankey or his top lieutenants, who are all incredibly bright people, to huddle together and say, listen, our schools are going through a really tough time. What can we do? Well, we've got this treasure chest. Let's get with the ADs and the presidents and ask them what they need and how we could help. Listen, Kentucky, we're talking about Kentucky here, built a brand new baseball stadium.
Right.
Missouri built a brand new softball stadium, and they're moving on to the super regionals. When you have the money, I've always said that it's not the most obvious things that benefit. Certainly they do. Football benefits from it. But instead of the head coach coaching salary, look at the assistant coaching pool that is allowed to be the best in the country. It's not just the football stadium renovations. Look at in many places, non-revenue sports, they're allowed to take a crack at revenue or have a brand new stadium or new locker rooms or premier facilities. And they're all over the conference. Texas A&M, the facilities are insane. Arkansas, off the charts. And we're talking about all the sports, not just football and basketball. So, yeah, and then you got an extra $23 million per just sitting there.
Right.
That's huge, because there are some schools in this conference that did a great job saving for a rainy day. I know Georgia was one of them. They have in reserve plenty of money to kind of keep keep things afloat even through a global pandemic. There are others that were really hurting, and that's a nice little rain check.
You mentioned the 30 for 30 on Skip tonight. Hold the Rope. The documentary airs 6 o'clock on the SEC Network. The status that Skip Bertman holds within the state of Louisiana. You have seen him move around on campus and understand just how he is revered down here. What is his impact on the SEC? What is his impact on college baseball from a perspective outside of Louisiana that has so much knowledge on how our state works from a sports landscape standpoint?
Well, there are thousands of things to appreciate about Skip, but from a big picture perspective, I would dial into the revenue opportunities that he presented not just to LSU, but then throughout the SEC and throughout college baseball. I mean, he learned under a great one of Ron Frazier, who knew how to promote, who knew how to get people in the stands. And then he took that to the nth degree in Baton Rouge. And what has that done? I mean, listen, that's just his rock in the middle of the pond has reverberated all the way through. You know, you don't have, with all due respect to Ron Polk, I don't think you have a new Dudy Noble Field at Mississippi State that is the Taj Mahal of college baseball unless LSU sets the tone and says you can make money at this sport and you can sell tickets and you can cash checks. Same thing at Oxford. I mean, Mike Bianco learned from the Masters. They make a ton of money on baseball at Ole Miss. The College World Series, the NCAA tournament as a whole, is the second most profitable tournament the NCAA runs.
Wow.
Second most. Think about that. Now, you heard all the hubbub around the women's tournament and the volleyball tournament and everything else that happened this year. Those problems don't exist on the baseball side because it prints money and they do it the right way. So who would, was USC making money under Rod Dato over the years? Yeah, sure, relatively speaking. They had a live organist and everything. But holy smokes, nobody made money like LSU did and continues to do. And I just think it's important from a sports perspective to show ADs what's possible and to show administration like this is something that you can build into a moneymaker and who doesn't want to make money and serve the community at the same time. So to me, we could point to the big leaguers he's produced and the national titles and all that stuff, and I'm not taking anything away from that, but I think that the impact on college baseball as a whole revolves around turning it into a revenue sport.
Maybe the most versatile broadcaster in the business right now. When you think of Tom Hart, you could not stamp him to one sport because you hear him everywhere. Basketball, baseball, football. He needs to be the voice of the ABC SEC game that's going to be launching here in a year, because when you think SEC, you think of his voice. Thank you as always for the knowledge this morning. We'll catch up soon, Tom.
Sounds good. I'll see y'all in Hoover, at least to the airwaves.
Hell yeah, man. See you. There's Tom Hart checking in this morning.
So
the best. Versatile.
Voice was sounding strong.
It was,
dude.
bro. After
Yeah,
a
that's
weekend of work.
Yeah, it's tough. Saltwater gargle. Apparently, that's the trick.
Everything else, everything is changing around us. Isn't it time for you to start buying and selling your house a whole lot easier and a whole lot cheaper? Introducing Falaya. From virtual tours to push-button offers, Falaya is redefining how real estate is sold. If you want more information, visit Falaya.com or download the app today where you can find them. You can find them online at Falaya.com. Call my friend Barrett Blondo, 225-939-6153. 939-6153 is how you get in touch with Barrett Blondo over at Falaya.com. We were talking SEC perspective there. Let's get a more microscopic look at LSU and what they were able to accomplish over the weekend. As we will check in with the advocates, Wilson Alexander here, who's always got great knowledge.
Hello.
Good morning, sir. How are you? We're live.
I'm good. Jordy, how are you doing?
I'm doing good, man. I'm doing good. Going into the week, we knew LSU had work to do. On Thursday, I really thought that they had cost themselves their postseason life, but they bounced back to take 2 of 3 in College Station, Wilson. What did they accomplish this weekend?
They gave themselves an excellent chance to make the NCAA tournament. They did exactly what they needed to do. They needed 2 wins. They got them. Like you said, it was amazing that they lost the first game of that series, and things looked kind of bleak there, and they came back and won 2. They still probably need to go and beat Georgia tomorrow to make it without a shadow of a doubt that they're in the tournament. But even if they can't win that game, their body of work to this point, they could very well get in next Monday.
How different do you feel about this team than you did 2 weeks ago?
I feel not insanely different, maybe, but impressed, really. They had their backs against the wall. They had to go and get, a couple of 3 series wins to end the year. And, it seemed like they've been playing better baseball, but still for them to put it all together here near the end and start to get a little bit hot, it's just been really impressive to watch. This team was, down and they're resilient, and they've come back to give themselves a good chance of making the tournament here and try to make a run. And, I think the team is how the team looks isn't all that different for me, other than M'Khail Hilliard and some of the things like that. But, they did exactly what they needed to do, and it's been impressive to watch over the last few weeks. Every game has been must win, and they've been able to win them when they needed to.
Hilliard seems like an obvious pinpoint or a mile marker on why this could be happening, but is there anything that you can point to and say this was the turning point?
Not really. I mean, you just sort of saw like those last 3 weeks of the schedule were going to get a little bit easier once you got past Arkansas. You knew it was LSU's chance facing teams like Auburn, Alabama, and A&M that weren't the top teams in the league. You knew that they had a shot to beat those teams. Mainieri felt like they had a chance in every single game to win every single game, and it's obviously hard to do that in baseball. But yeah, I mean, adding M'Khail and getting what they did out of him, that obviously helped a lot. And you could see that coming out of that Arkansas series, that was going to be big down the stretch if he could maintain it, and he has. But other than that, it's really, I think they've been facing competition that they've been able to have a better chance of beating, and they've gone out and done it. The lineup does look a little bit more balanced at times here down the stretch, and but they've just been playing all together, really.
A lot of smoke around the Landon Marceaux decision on the first game of the A&M series. Do you think that, I say that to ask you, do you think he starts against Georgia?
I would think so, because he only threw 60 pitches. The only issue is that he and Mainieri said that he looked gassed quickly. Landon said he didn't feel strong. If for some reason whatever created that is still lingering, if he still doesn't feel quite like himself, then it's going to be hard for him to turn around on short rest and start again. But he's their best pitcher, and this is now the most important game of the season. Coming up, every single game that you play is now the most important game, and they could use this one to really feel comfortable and secure going into that selection show. And so I feel like they would roll with Landon, as long as he feels all right, because he gives them the best chance to win every time he goes on the mound.
Do they have the arms to do this?
They've certainly gotten better in the bullpen. To make a run as far as they're going to have to in Hoover, that's going to be really tough. They would need some extraordinary things. But I mean, Javen Coleman, his emergence lately is somebody who can give you 4 or 5 innings. That could really be helpful down here. They could, crazy things happen in conference tournaments, but they would also need, AJ Leibson to get back on track and that kind of thing to give them the pitching. Devin Fano would have to be able to pitch multiple times. It would be really tough because of them playing in that first game to go all the way through and maybe win this tournament. But they're going to have, if their pitching can continue to throw like it did against Texas A&M, they can make a little bit of a run here.
Just to get a hypothetical from you, because I think LSU has taken they've taken a lot of slander throughout the year. If they have a Jaden Hill and they have a Matthew Beck, how much different is this season? Because the pitching is obviously what's been lacking, and the offense is coming together. If we have all of our Hosses, is this a different season?
Yeah, I think maybe. I mean, obviously, they were still off to that 1-8 start even with Jaden. Obviously, they didn't have Matthew, but Matthew might have made a difference in a couple of those really close losses where. Because he really was a really reliable bullpen arm, and to lose him, that hurt. Now that they've picked up, M'Khail, and he's sort of been able to fill in for Jaden, I don't know how much that would change everything. But you look at like a tournament scenario where they would have potentially, M'Khail and Jaden and all these guys, then yeah, it would probably be a little bit different. Especially, I think Matthew, that probably looms larger just because they haven't had anybody to replace him, whereas M'Khail has come in and at least done the job that Jaden would have been doing over the last few weeks. It's hard to say for sure, but I do think it would be better as a team if they had both of those guys. Absolutely.
Wilson, how about the emergence of Sanford, of Mitchell Sanford? Did you see that coming, and what type of impact has he made on the roster?
Yeah, he's been able to come in and do some good things when he's had an opportunity. He got a start there in that series on I guess it was Friday, and I think he only went 1 for 5, and he struck out with the bases loaded in the 11th, and that wasn't great. But he's had some glimpses of potential, what he's capable of doing this year. He came through with a pinch hit single not too long ago. I don't remember exactly what game it was. They all start to run together at a certain point. But he also had that throw from the outfield against Alabama. That was so impressive. He's kind of their first guy or first 1 or 2 guys off the bench. He looks like he could be continue to develop into a good player with the more chances he gets, the more time he gets on the field. He's been a pretty reliable guy for them this season at times, and someone that they seem to trust.
Check out the 2 latest reads from our guy Wilson Alexander over at The Advocate. He is a fantastic follow on Twitter. If you want to catch up with the latest of LSU baseball, it is at WH_Alexander_ on Twitter where you can find it. But he talks about the dominance, or at least the resurgence, of this bullpen over the last 17 2/3 inning, what LSU has accomplished out of the bullpen, and then a direct focus on M'Khail Hilliard. Will you be in Hoover tomorrow?
Yes, there will be. Me and our columnist, Scott Rabelais, we're driving up in about an hour we leave. So
Nice.
We'll be there as long as LSU is.
What's the first fast food stop?
Oh, gosh. I have no idea. I have not considered that at all. Usually on the road, I try to stop for a public sub, but that's going to be hard to get to by the time I get hungry, so I really don't know.
Lenny's Sub is a diamond on your way to Hoover. Watch out for Rabs. I had no clue that Rabelais was a hotel snob. And figured that out at the SEC Media Days, where he requested 2 other rooms, one because of the curtains, bro. Look out for Rabs. Tell him I said so, Wilson. Enjoy the trip. Y'all have a good one. We will be checking in.
All right. Y'all have a good day.
Thank you.
Let them know.
Please. Wilson Alexander checking in this morning. Bro, a total hotel snob. I had no idea. We're at SEC Media Days, and Rabs was like, I got to move my room again. I was like, again? What do you mean again? He was like, well, the first one, they had a stench. Had a smell.
No Febreze?
I was like, well, I mean, Rev, so what did you do? He said, well, I went downstairs and requested a new room. They put me in a new room, and something was on the curtains. I can't stay in that room. I was like, who knew?
Have you ever done anything
Who knew
like
that the most talented pin in the city is a hotel snob? I've never done anything like that. I've never sent back a meal.
I was about to say that was going to be my next question. I've never sent anything back.
Have you sent anything back?
You're an idiot if you
I
send
bet
back
she
a
has.
meal.
I agree.
Yeah.
Are you kidding?
I
You do?
Send
You
back
don't?
a meal?
No,
because
I
you
don't
can
either.
send it
Yeah.
back, they're
Like
gonna
a roach crawling across it. I wouldn't say a damn
This
I
is
wouldn't say
beautiful
a word.
presentation.
Yeah.
Thank you. How is everything after you just shit on it the whole time? Like,
Can I get a box,
sucks.
please?
You're like, oh, it's delicious. Thank you
Yes,
so much for
exactly
waiting
right.
on us.
I'm not sending anything
back.
Why do you
I
think
would.
I'm the one in here sending a meal
Because
back?
you're confident enough to do it. Like, you would be like,
I'm
hey,
no
dude.
fool.
Yeah,
Because I know
that
what
is
it's
a
coming
yeah, it's a
back
fool's
with.
move.
It is a fool's errand.
It is.
Even like
It is a
Parmesan
fool's
cheese,
errand.
I'm like, hey, not to be that guy.
Nope. No.
Dude, there could be no salt and pepper on the table, and I wouldn't say anything.
I
I'd
agree
be
with you,
like,
man. I agree with you.
I could be allergic to something and I'll stick an EpiPen in me before I send it back. That's how I feel about that.
I'm dying.
R&B Builders. Remember Rhett Bourgeois and
Things are
his
great.
crew over at R&B Builders. RMB-builders.com is how you get in touch with Rhett. Another one, first-hand testimony for you here. I've been telling you about Rhett and his crew for so long, now experiencing the great service. Just like Katie and David did when he was working on their house. He's now over working at the house, helping us with a little bit of a storm restoration and also an addition to a bathroom as well. So RMB Builders, they're fantastic, man. What I love about Rhett is he tells you he's going to do something, it's done. He tells you he's going to be there somewhere at a certain time, he's there at the time.
Can't beat that.
I mean,
Very
really and
odd
truly,
for a
man.
contractor.
It is very much odd for a contractor, and it's very much odd in today's world for somebody to tell you that they're going to do something and then it be done. You can get that done at
Is that
RMB
passive
Builders.
aggressive? Are you looking at us?
No.
Dude, I was wondering if that was a shot. I was like, what did I say I was
Same.
going
We're
to
all
do?
Really and
like,
truly, it's kind of a shot at myself.
Where's the twitch?
RMB, that's
That's Noah, dude. He said he's going to do it. He was on
Take 2
vacation.
days off. The confidence on this guy. RMB-builders.com. We come back. We talk NBA playoffs with Darnell Lazare as they are heating up. Lazare, of course, a part of the New Orleans Pelicans development team over in New Orleans, but has so much experience in the NBA. In fact, he was on the Memphis staff when they were up in the air on that second pick, and they went with Ja Morant. Morant last night in the Grizz go into Utah. Now, this is sans Donovan Mitchell last night, but get the win in Game 1. Grizzlies on fire right now, as over the last 3 games, they've knocked out the San Antonio Spurs from the playoffs.
Dead.
Steph Curry and Golden State on Friday night,
Out.
dead in Oakland, go into Golden State and beat Steph Curry and Golden State on their home floor. And then in Game 1 against the number 1 seeded Utah Jazz, they go into Utah, which is full capacity now.
White shirts, everything.
Everything.
Notoriously mean house, which you wouldn't think for Utah, but it's a
Those
ruthless
Mormons,
fan
yeah.
base, yes.
And get a Game 1 win. We will talk to Darnell Lazare next here about it all on the Jordy Culotta Show, driven and powered by Go Chevrolet every day. Gearing up for spring and summer down here in South Louisiana, and you want to keep your lawn maintained during these sunny seasons, get in touch with our friend Blake Abear over at Abear's Lawn Maintenance, where he says, you grow it, I mow it. 225-485-8022. 225-485-8022 is where you can find Abear's Lawn and Maintenance, the official lawn and maintenance company of the undisclosed location. Go Chevrolet is proud to announce Go Express Auto Sales, the new used car lot located in the capital city of Baton Rouge, Louisiana, at 11522 Florida Boulevard. Go Express Auto Sales is online at goexpressautosales.com, or you can search them on Facebook and social media at Go Express Auto Sales, the newest addition to the family of Go Chevrolet. Remember, Go Chevrolet is located down in Laplace, Louisiana, but now welcoming aboard Go Express, the new used car lot located in Baton Rouge, Louisiana at 11522 Florida Boulevard. Are you self-employed? Then you need to learn about Angel Oak's Home Loans Bank Statement program that they're offering, which makes you eligible as a self-employed borrower to purchase or refinance a home without requiring a tax return. If you want to learn more, get in touch with me. Email me, Jordy at jordyculotta.show.com, to learn about the bank statement loan program offered by Angel Oak. Jordy at jordyculotta.show.com to learn more. Gearing up for spring and summer down here in South Louisiana, and you want to keep your lawn maintained during these sunny seasons, get in touch with our friend Blake Abear over at Abear's Lawn Maintenance, where he says, you grow it, I mow it. 225-485-8022. 225-485-8022 is where you can find Abear's Lawn and Maintenance, the official lawn and maintenance company of the undisclosed location. Welcome back here to the Jordy Culotta Show, driven and powered by Go Chevrolet every single day. Remember, all of our guests via phone line are compliments of Metropolitan Health Group. Shout out to Charlie Harvey and Jason Ramazan and their crew. Real doctors, real solutions. Darnell Lazare is our next guest. D-House, Baton Rouge native. Couple of times state champion under Kenny Allman with the Woodlawn Panthers. A Final Four representative with LSU. And one of the... When you talk around NBA circles, I was in fact talking to Will Wade about this the other day about Darnell and just the reputation he is fastly gaining in the NBA as a true dude as far as the personnel department goes. He's been with Memphis. He's now over in New Orleans, and he is a Baton Rouge native. We always love to welcome him back to the conversation. D-House, good morning.
Good morning, guys. How y'all doing today?
Doing good. Before we jump into the NBA, before we jump into what's happening right now in the association and the playoffs, you were at LSU with Simone Augustus. I saw that up close as a part of a student trainer on that 2005-2006 team, and I saw the respect that the men's program, you guys as the players, had for the women's program at that time, specifically Simone. Can you talk about the relationship that Simone Augustus and LSU that you guys had and the impact that she had on women's basketball as a whole?
No doubt. Well, being from Baton Rouge, she was at Capitol High when I was at Woodlawn. And I just remember being in high school, she was just dominating, the area and the whole state. And then when she turned around and went to LSU, just like you said, the amount of respect we had for her as a basketball player was just, on a different level. She was so good. I mean, her ability to create her own shot off the dribble. She had like this killer crossover that was top notch. And I want to say she went to 4 straight Final Fours while she was at LSU.
She did.
So just her ability to entertain, and you saw her skill level, it was so high, but on top of that, she won. Yeah. And then she went on to have, a highly decorated career in the WNBA. I think she was on 3 Olympic teams, won some gold medals. I definitely think she's one of the best athletes to ever come through LSU for sure. She's had a tremendous career. It's been a privilege to watch her play. It's a privilege to know her. You know what I mean? We've had conversations before. We used to go to her games. She used to come to our games. The support was, and respect, like I said, was at a high level. So, shout out to Simone on the career she had. She's, it's been amazing and fun to watch.
I always thought that was natural. The further I got away from that, you started to recognize that the respect that the men's program and the women's program had for each other during really your time there. I mean, for the 4 years you were there, I mean, it was really kind of aligned with the respect on both sides, where people like you, Daryl Mitchell, Garrett Temple, Glenn Davis, Tyrus Thomas would stick around and watch the women practice and play pickup. I mean, I was like thinking, like, I mean, the Big Baby and Tyrus Thomas and Daryl Mitchell and Darnell just sitting here watching these ladies practice, but it was a respect level that went back and forth that I think that they have still been searching for since those classes have left.
Yeah, I'm not sure what that relationship is like now, but like you said back then, you had classes with them. With ladies, we would study hall together, and we just used to watch each other play ball. You know what I mean? Because they were very, very good. Like I said, that program, they won a lot of games. You know what I mean? And I just remember from watching them play pickup to when Tennessee would come to town, how the arena would be sold out, and Tamika Johnson and Big Seal and Aisha and Shalonda and. So I could run through a whole list, but I mean, it's been some talented ladies come through there, and they definitely represented in the right way.
Darnell, as a part of the personnel department for NBA franchises like you have been for the last couple of seasons, what is the respect level around LSU basketball? Is it coming back? Because, I mean, Cam Thomas seems like he's going to be a lottery pick. Tremont Waters is playing in the NBA, so Skylar Mays is on the bench in Atlanta and logged some nice minutes coming down the stretch in the regular season. What is the respect level around LSU basketball from the highest level when you talk about it from your point of view?
I think organizations know that LSU will have a player or two that they can come and get, whether that be as a lottery pick or a two-way. I think since leaving LSU, we probably had 1 to 2 pros a year, I want to say.
Right.
So we've had quite a few guys get an opportunity in the league. So I think coaches, scouts, they'll come out and check us out. We're probably not quite where those blue bloods are, obviously, where they have a bunch of one and dones and whatnot. But I mean, I think they know that there's talent here in the state of Louisiana and at the university, and they would be doing themselves a disservice if they didn't come and evaluate the prospects at the university year in and year out.
Is the NBA playoffs the best entertainment dollar in sports?
I'm biased, and I would say probably is. I mean, March Madness, I would say is pretty up there. Now that college does the college football playoffs, I think. But with the NBA, especially with the play-in situation this year, I mean, I thought the play-ins turned out well. You kind of heard different opinions about that, because when you're a 7th seed in the NBA, you've had a pretty good season. You know what I'm saying? So to then have to go and win another game to solidify that spot, that's tough to do, because now it's just one game. One thing about the NBA is playing a series. Most times the more talented team will win, because you have to beat that team 4 times.
Right.
But when you just play in one game, as you saw with these play-in situations, anything can happen. but I do think it's very entertaining. I think the playoffs this year are going to be great. You look at the seeds, the seedings of where these teams fall. You got the Lakers, who won the championship last year. They're a 7th seed. You saw yesterday the New York-Atlanta series, 2 young teams going at it. That was a phenomenal game to watch. You saw Memphis beat Utah last night, which was the 8th seed, beating the 1 seed. So it'll be good. It'll be good TV.
Do you think they continue to tweak the play-in tournament format, or is this its final form? Because it was a little confusing for people that were just like tuning in to understand, like, oh wait, no, this is a play-in game to get into another game, and then you're eliminated. So I'm wondering if they is this its final form? Is it like a evolving situation?
I'm not sure. I think they're going to probably have a conversation with owners around the NBA, maybe, coaches and GMs and whatnot. Because like I said previously, when you're a 7th seed, you're probably above 500. And if you're above 500 in a 72-game season like we were last year, like this past season, but most times the 82-game season, and you're above 500, you can argue that you've earned your spot in the playoffs. You know what I mean? But like I said, it made it fun to watch. This could be here to stay. They could tweak it and make it more like it was in the bubble last year. In the bubble last year, 1 through 7, they were already locked in. And then 9 and 10 played each other, and the winner of 9 and 10 would play 8. But that winner of 9 and 10 would have to beat 8 twice, where 8 would have to only win 1 game. So you still kind of gave the 8th seed somewhat of an advantage.
Darnell, who's the best team in this tournament, in your opinion?
Man, it's hard. It's hard to say. Having played against all these teams. We played against Brooklyn when they didn't have James Harden, and they were a really talented team. That was KD's first game back from injury, and he came off the bench. But between Kyrie, Blake Griffin, Jeff Green, at the time LaMarcus hadn't retired yet, he played, Joe Harris. They're a highly gifted offensive team. I think when you watch the playoffs, you see a lot of these teams, their rotations and the personnel they play is slightly different because they're trying to use the whole width of the court in terms of getting spacing and really opening it up for their best players to score. Because in the playoffs, the game is definitely going to slow down. It's going to become more physical. So you want to try to open the floor as much as possible to give those talented playmakers and scorers an opportunity to really work. I think Utah is good. Obviously, not having Donovan Mitchell kind of hurts them. I think he'll be coming back. But it's so many teams this year, man. I think you have like three to four teams from the West who can maybe make a push to that conference finals. In the East, I think the top 3 seeds are probably, the best teams in that. And I think between Philly, Milwaukee, and Brooklyn, one of those teams will represent in the finals. I think Boston is not as strong as they were last year. Miami, I think, is going to put up a good fight, but I don't know if they can get past Milwaukee. I think Milwaukee's primed to make a deeper run than they did last year. Obviously, Giannis is healthy. I wish I could just give you a clear-cut answer, but I think there's about 5 teams that can win the championship this year.
Well, I think it goes back to our previous question on the entertainment dollar and how you spend it. It's just you never know. Night in, night out, you're going to get some highlight in every game. I thought that the way that the game ended in Madison Square Garden yesterday was must-watch television. And then John Morant last night, who I know you were a part of the evaluation process. What is the ceiling on Morant when you watch it? When I watch him play, he looks like a more athletic Dwayne Wade. When he takes off and jumps, it doesn't look like he's coming down.
Yeah, he's not quite the physical specimen that Dwayne Wade was. He's not as tall as Dwayne Wade. Ja is probably about 6'3". He kind of reminds me of an Allen Iverson type a little bit, but more of a point guard. His explosiveness is comparable to what D Rose was before he got hurt.
Russell Westbrook?
Got some Russ, but again, he's not the physical specimen that Russ was. You know what I mean? He's not the specimen that Russ was. And Russ is really dynamic as a full court player. He's a coast to coast guy, relentless getting to the rim. Ja gets to the rim too, but his ability to play in pick and roll and kind of create for his teammates, I think, is a little bit unique to some of these guys that we're naming. But just in his size, the body type, that's kind of where I get the Allen Iverson comp from. You know, he's a little bit taller than AI was, but they both were kind of lean. But he is very explosive, good body control, going to the rim, and his ability to finish. You know, as in that Golden State game, you know, he made 5 of 10 threes, and I think that really was the difference in why they won that game. As he continues to develop as a shooter, he's going to be a tough cover.
If you watch video of Zion work out, you're usually the personnel director that's feeding the shots and working out with him one-on-one, and he's giving you a lot of compliments in the public to helping him with his game. What is the emphasis for Big Z in between year 2 and 3 from your point of view?
Just keep adding depth to his game. You know, I think he's probably a better shooter than people think, just because he doesn't shoot a lot. Most of his scoring comes at the restricted area and at the rim because he's so gifted. His touch is elite. It's one of the best that I've seen since I've been working in this league. But as he continues to develop, just continue to add space to his game, shoot a few pull-up jump shots, maybe get to some floaters. I thought this year he shot a few threes. Continuing to do that. Obviously, you saw the improvement he made at the free throw line. I think he was above 70% this year, which was a big bump from where he was his rookie season. And now that we're putting the ball in his hands more, he's kind of playing like that point forward position. Just continue to understand the game and see the plays that he can create for both himself and his teammates. You know, I think when you look at LeBron play and you look at the Kevin Durant's play, one of the things that those guys are so exceptional about is they can see which matchup they want to exploit on their opponents. You know what I mean? Like, they don't just necessarily take the guy that's guarding them. They'll see, okay, if I call this player up in pick and roll, probability they're going to trap me, or I can get downhill and my teammate in the weak side may be open for a spot up 3, or I can hit my big on a roll. You know, as he continues to get older and he starts to see those things and start to manipulate the defense, that's another notch he'll add on his belt.
You mentioned Zion kind of moving into that point forward role, point Zion, as they've been calling him. Does that kind of change the way that you build the roster around him? Because I don't think that was really the archetype that they thought was going to be for Zion, the position he would play. Does that change what we do in the offseason in terms of who you put around him?
Potentially. You know, that's something more that our front office would kind of lean into heavily. I would just say, in watching him play this year, I think one of the real attributes of his game is that while he can handle it and operate in kind of pick and rolls, and that's that point Zion, as people have grown to call him, his ability to score as a traditional 4, meaning as a screener and a roller or post-up situations, and, you know, he's been a good cutter. I mean, really, he can score in all those different elements. Like, if you would equate it to basketball, I would say he's a 5-tool player. You know what I mean? He can do everything. He can do everything. I think at his size and his ability to be as explosive as he is, and the force that he can generate with the ball, is really what makes him hard to guard when he's handling. But his willingness, you know, because you see players sometimes, they kind of get fixated and only playing a certain type of way. His ability to be versatile offensively is a huge key for us moving forward, and it should help us out in the future.
Darnell, if I'm giving you one pick to win one game, is it still LeBron James in that league?
I would say so. I mean, the guy's been, 19 years. You know what I mean? It's not anything he hasn't seen. Obviously he's coming back off of the ankle injury, and he's still been effective. But now you want him to shoot threes because you want to take the rim away from him. But if you're just giving him a spot up 3, it's a strong chance that's going in. You know what I'm saying? Right. So when he's making that shot, you kind of got to put your hands up. You know what I mean? And I'm saying this as a guy that's 19 years in the league. Like, he's 36 years old. We're not talking about a guy that's 25, 26. You know what I mean? I think KD is probably right under that in terms of just, if we're talking about the offensive side of the ball and ability to score. You know, KD is very efficient as well. But, I mean, LeBron's ability to come down, get to the rim, shoot versus the under and pick and rolls, or make the necessary pass to his teammate. Like, even in that game last night against Phoenix, you kind of saw him pushing in transition, and he just zipping balls three-quarter court to his bigs at the rim. I mean, that's a lot to deal with, man.
The Lou Williams cross-court pass to Bogdanovich in the corner yesterday was the best pass that I saw all day. But LeBron is incredible. LeBron sports science, even in that league, do you guys fathom that? Are you guys amazed at the sports science behind his ability? Like you said, 19 years still in the league, and to be able to run, jump, and move like he can?
Absolutely. But you hear the stories all the time about how he takes care of his bodies, and I think for all young players coming into the NBA, because, you know, when you first come into the league, you 19, 20, 21, you know, you're used to just rolling out of bed, maybe don't stretch as much. You can just go run and play all day. And you can probably do that for 3 to 4 years. But there is a point in your career where you need to start to invest, if you will, in the maintenance of how you take care of your body. Because they say you only have so many jumps. You know what I mean? And he's been the standard, I think, in terms of taking care of his body, the diet, how he approaches, you know, practice and games, his conditioning level. Like, there's so many things that, you know, maybe the casual fan may not observe about what goes into doing what he does, you know, night in and night out at that age. You know what I mean? Like I said, 19 years, haven't been to 10 finals, I think 10 straight. We talking about a player that's playing well over probably 100 games every year. And at 36 years old, to come out and be averaging the 25, 7, and 7 that he's doing. I mean, I think it's on the same level of what Tom Brady's doing in football. Obviously, Tom is winning the Super Bowl rings and whatnot. But, I mean, LeBron is playing. You think about it, he's playing on Olympic teams. He's playing in the All-Star game, so he's not getting that full weekend off. He's playing deep into the playoffs every year. So to come back every year and still be, you know, we can say maybe he's not the MVP this year, but he's a top 5, top 10 player. Yeah. Again, after 19 years of service, that's elite.
And we talk about LeBron's ability to keep in check physically in his age, but how impressive is his almost on-court acumen, his knowledge of the game? Do you have any instances of either coaching against him or playing against him where he showed you something like, that's unbelievable that he knows that? Because there's video of Iman Shumpert where LeBron's telling him what to do or where to stand, and he's on the opposite team.
I mean, again, and that's kind of the comparison I was trying to say about
Brady,
Zion, as he continues to evolve. But we've played against the Lakers before, and you've seen him, like, put people in different spots, not necessarily change the play, but he'll put his teammates in different spots because that changes the responsibility of what we're doing defensively. And he'll just come off a pick and roll and just create a wide open shot for somebody. And it's like, you know, our guys didn't necessarily play it wrong. It was just him putting different people in different spots just created a little bit of confusion.
On the fly.
Or on the fly. Just on the fly. You know, his ability to see plays and anticipate before, because basketball is a game of decision making, ultimately. It's players, yes. I mean, how fast can players perceive, decide, and react? That's what the game is. You know, and the best players in the game, the LeBrons, the KDs, the Steph Currys, you know, the Jokers, these guys do this at a level that's so elite, I can't really put into words what that looks like possession after possession. But these guys' ability to read, perceive, and decide what to do is so elite. It really puts defenses in a bind. Like, as great as defense is, good offense tends to beat great defense because the guy with the ball is normally the aggressor. You know what I'm saying? So the defense is normally reacting to the ball.
Darnell Lazare, that was an exceptional 20 minutes. I feel a lot smarter about
I do feel like I learned something
when listening to him talk. I will just say this on the way out: Dylan Brooks is fastly becoming my favorite playoff player. He is a great villain in the NBA.
Good player, man. Blue collar guy. You know, clawed his way to get to where he is. I'm happy for him.
Enjoy the rest of the playoffs. Thank you for the insight this morning.
Thanks for having me, guys. You guys have a good day.
There he is, Darnell Lazare, out of the playoff, out of the personnel department, out of the New Orleans Pelicans, checking in this morning. As I tell you, man, he is a bright mind in the NBA. As a lot of people, you talk to him about him, you can hear the respect that they have for Darnell Lazare. So thank you, D-House, for stopping by. Remember, Hub International is the official insurance agency of the Jordy Culotta Show. They are also the official insurance provider for the New Orleans Saints and New Orleans Pelicans. Get in touch with Hub International today. All right, that was a stellar show here on a Monday as we remembered. I hate to sound like we've killed Skip Bertman. He is not dead. It does seem like we have killed him as we have shared a lot of memories on the Skipper this morning. As Stanley will be remembered tonight on the Hold the Rope documentary.
Is that his name?
Stanley.
I didn't know that.
Are you kidding me?
No,
I
really? No, I didn't know.
Did you know that?
Stan Bertman. That's why Sandy calls him Stanley. And he goes by Skip.
Huh.
Well, Skip, like manager, like
right,
Skipper.
Old Skipper.
I kind of thought that was his name. I never even thought to ask.
I didn't think either.
The funniest is when you will call.
You call him Stanley?
You will call the house. You will call the house and ask for him, and old Sandy Bear will answer the phone, and she'll put down the phone and yell, Stanley!
Do you just casually call Skip Bertman's house?
I have before.
I've helped him put their groceries in the refrigerator.
I'm trying to get
Really?
I'm trying to get him to the UTL. I'm trying to get.
He would love it. He might not leave.
He would. And he said he will come. He wants to promote. He's got a book coming out. He wanted to promote the documentary, so we'll get him in here.
Anybody understands marketing, it's Stanley.
And he will tell some stories. Bro.
Yes,
he is a incredible storyteller.
Well, dude, you see him when he goes to baseball games. He sits behind home plate, and he's always got like a young buck with him, and you can tell he gives the lean in and be like,
yeah,
like this is why they're doing that right there. It's like, dude, if you realized who that was and who's talking to you right now, you should listen.
Might be the author. Might be writing the book.
You should just do it into your phone. Just let Siri dictate it, and then it'll be good. It's over.
So we will see the documentary tonight on Skip Bertman. Hold the Rope, 6 o'clock. What's that? I'm not, because Little Jay's got a makeup flag football game at 5:45, but there is an incredible opportunity for the public over at L'Auberge tonight to watch the launch with Skip.
Oh, that's
Skip
cool.
is going to be there at the Skip Bertman room at L'Auberge's sports bar.
Soon to be sports book.
Yeah, that's right. There is tickets at the door. There is available spots. Rance is in charge of this. He's the one that put me on it. Yeah, so heads up. It might be a direct Venmo to Rance's account for the tickets.
Now I expect a phone call, dude.
But there is opportunity to watch it with Stanley tonight, as they'll be over at L'Auberge.
Oh, you're busy you got your rivalry tonight.
Some would call it a rivalry. They would call it a rivalry. I would just call it 4 ass kickings in 5 in a row tonight.
And somebody decided to open their mouth.
Yeah, a little bit of trash talking from the other side.
Wait,
so,
this is football or basketball?
Flag football. Basketball's over.
Oh, you're done.
We went through the
Gotta shut it down.
the last weekend of AAU basketball. No conflict in the gym. Did catch a lot of stares. $10 went down $5.
They dropped it down.
Went down $5. So no drama, no conflict in the AAU gym. Onto the flag football field this week.
Guess he had to drop the price down after
close
that.
out.
It's like, look, I'll make it
bro.
$10. I mean, my bad.
They probably cleared 30,000 last weekend.
Non-taxable.
For God's sakes, man! Can we at least get a box of popcorn? You know
From
what I mean?
last week?
Yeah, right?
Sheesh.
How much are Skittles? $6.50.
Got a bag of Doritos. I mean, it tasted like they were there in 2017.
Is this your last flag football game?
This is the last regular season game, and the playoffs start on Wednesday night.
What's the record?
Undefeated. I don't know. I mean, 8-0, 9-0.
He's like, how dare you ask that question?
Dude, if you lose, it's gonna be. Not to say
Why
you will.
are you jinxing it?
No, just they're wiping everybody by 50 points. It would be an upset of all upsets.
It would be an upset.
It would be upset. It would be on the coaching, for sure.
You got the horses.
Be a coaching problem.
Wow,
for sure. It would be a terrible finish to the season. So
would it be back-to-back titles?
F you Lloyd for
Put it in your head.
It's like me tweeting. Come on.
yeah, right.
I just don't see it happening. I mean, it's not even on his radar, dude. He's got the championship. He knows
I'll
Yeah,
take a
he
sports
knows
book bet on that. I'll take the field.
it. Dude, what are the? Yeah, if you said odds, I would imagine they would be.
I know
mean,
guys
you're
set
2 to
odds.
1.
Yeah, we're even money.
Yeah,
We got to be.
you're the Nets.
I would say that the Raging Cajuns would be our.
Is that tonight?
That would be in the playoffs.
When
Tonight's
seed?
the Wolverines.
Oh, dude, that
What are
doesn't
you
sound
guys
like
called?
The Bruins.
Okay.
UCLA.
I like the colors.
the Unis.
Yeah.
Unis pop.
Yep.
All right, J-Lo and Ben are for real.
They are for real.
They're for real. They're in love.
Well, I don't know. I can't speak to that. I mean,
Can't
Well, I
speak
mean,
to love.
I don't know. I don't know.
You're
if
our
they're
Hollywood
in love,
insider, for
but
God's
I don't know
sakes.
if they're in love. I don't know them personally. Is anyone in Hollywood in love?
Probably
I mean,
not.
they are for a minute,
Yeah,
right?
with themselves.
Yes.
But that's all it is.
That's what I think. That's J-Lo's deal. Nobody's ever really gonna crack the 6th ring in the Pentagon and be like, "Hey, you need me."
I think I
You know
could.
what I mean?
I'm good.
Like, you need me, J-Lo.
If she gave me a shot, I think I could.
Crack it.
See, I have the same take, dude. I feel like she's never been with anybody like me before. She's like
Just
this
a
is
normal
good.
dude?
Yeah, she's like
She
this is kind of
hasn't.
interesting. You have no ego at all.
No, she did.
You don't
She
think she's
married,
dating-
like, the first person she married was a normal guy.
Yeah, I think he was like a real estate agent.
Yeah,
wasn't he?
he was. Yeah.
mean,
Even
like,
that's got ego though. He's on
Exactly.
billboards and on pee things that you put in the urinal. He's on urinal cakes.
God.
What do
You
we
know?
have? Nothing.
Yeah, I got nothing. She would just like that I'm around all the
Did I
time.
tell
And
you
then
Jack was recognized by some 20-year-old? And that was watching as the dickhead at the house who checks all the IDs.
Oh, are you serious?
We're notorious dick.
dickhead.
One of my friends called and was like, "We're watching your podcast here, bro. And my daughter's a freshman at LSU, and she swears she knows the big guy that sits
The
on the
big
couch
guy.
with you, and she's saying that he's a bouncer at one of the Tigerland bars." And I'm like, thinking to myself, like, what is she talking about? And she's like, the guy that's sitting next to you, the dickhead that's always checking the IDs at the house. I'm like,
That's what they pay me to
Jack!
pay for.
And I said, Jack, and she goes, yes, that's his name, Jack.
Only person that recognizes me is
What an
Carl the
asshole,
cat.
bro.
I thought you were making the drinks there. So you're
everything,
You do
man.
everything there.
Switch on every
basically.
night.
Yeah. The Zion of the house.
Big Z. Get Jack to do it.
I mean, you look like a
lighten
bouncer,
up,
I
bro.
guess.
Like,
No, that's where you throw it. That's where you start at first.
You do.
Just throw it at the door. They don't train you. It's like, yeah, you figure it out, kid.
You got it. You just
How-
you're
so-
your size, and so you're at the door.
No, everyone starts at the
I
door.
mean,
Oh.
no, I mean,
I would start at the door.
Yeah,
intimidation
they're all starting
factor.
at the door.
Okay.
What's your? Yeah, I mean, your mental
I mean,
math
but-
has to be quick to get to 20 or 21, right? Like,
Oh,
you,
so if you're born in 2000,
oh, so it's
21.
easy for you.
It's
You gotta
easy.
eat. That's
Easy
an easy
math.
one.
sometimes you have to
Easy
do the long
math.
division. Like, fuck, we're just going
Get
in.
in.
so wait,
Yeah.
so it's 20,
Yeah, it's 20 right now.
but that's a private house rule.
It's a private house rule right now.
So
we
you're
are
not
classy.
you're not going to jail if they're 18 and they're in there, right? Like the legal
No,
law
no,
is
no.
still 18 to get into a bar.
What's terrible is I didn't know if I let in underage kids and they're drinking, I would get a ticket for that.
Like you personally.
Yeah, if I let them in with a fake ID, it said they're 21. ATC could write me a ticket.
Wait.
Did the boss, did the owner of the house tell you that, or did the ATC? Do
ATC.
Really?
My first night working, there's 3 men in a scanner, like, figure it out, and I let in, like, a couple of kids. And ATC was trying to give me a ticket. I'm like, dude, come on.
I don't know what I'm doing.
You want to throw me a bone?
I would be panicked.
I would.
That I would make a math mistake.
Yeah,
Wait, what if it? So it?
that
what
puts
it,
pressure on the job for sure.
without
Yeah.
doubt. What
I mean,
if it's
that
a fake
was
ID?
always a pressureless job.
It should be. It should like
Yeah.
yeah. The cooler you are, the more people you let in.
Absolutely,
Yeah,
yeah.
you know that. As
Yeah,
like
sure,
if you
yeah.
work through it, like I wish I would. You know, I understand that. If it's a 21-year-old ID, you can't get in trouble, right?
No.
So if
No,
you
no,
just
no.
for all the kids listening, get a
If it's
fake
a
ID that
fake.
says you're 20 or an actual ID that says you're
Yes.
21, you're good. Then it's up to you to be like that's not you. But you can't
Why
get in
would
trouble
I
for
care?
that.
Do you
Exactly.
keep fake IDs?
We have a stash, yeah.
Yeah.
The old
Dude, you could
switcheroo.
sell those.
Yeah, you sell them back.
Yeah, okay, I knew that.
Yeah.
The
Easy on all our secrets. We're on public.
For
Yeah.
real.
The great-
The owner of the
for
house
God's
is like,
sakes.
hey.
They know everything. The great line is
They
the
know I'm a
cop in the
scammer,
back.
bro.
Look, I'll be nice and I can give it to my boss and he can give it to the cop in the back and they pay him 20. But I'll be nice. You give me $25 for it.
You can get it right back and go in.
The cop in the back just sitting.
Yeah, feet up, hands
It's
in his
like
lap.
the dirty cop that rolls up on the drug bus, man. There's 2 ways we can handle this.
Yep.
Your asses are going to the clink, or you dust me off a little bit of that, shake me a little bit of that cash, You know, we'll call it a night.
Yeah, your credit card right back. It's awful
to do
dusty in here.
paperwork around
Right,
here.
man.
Our YouTube channel is definitely getting deleted.
By the house.
By the house.
Yeah, that guy. He's on his way over
He's
here.
deleting us.
Enjoy your Monday.
D-back.
Enjoy your Monday. NBA playoffs. Good stuff. Skip Bertman tonight. The docuseries.
Not dead.
He is not dead. Skip's still alive. They will remember him tonight on the documentary of the SEC Network, and he will be live at L'Auberge, and you can watch it with him. Thanks for everybody out there for your support. Remember, Go Chevrolet. Over at Go Chevrolet, got to remind you, just talk to Lee Carney. Over at Go Express, they are in Baton Rouge, corner of Sherwood Forest and Florida Boulevard. You can shop both sites for used cars, Go Chevrolet and Go Express, but they will bring the vehicle to Go Express for you. So if you were in Baton Rouge and you were looking at a piece of inventory over in Laplace, just get in touch with Carney, Richard, the crew over at Go Chevrolet in Laplace, and they will take that make, model, and vehicle back over here to Baton Rouge to Go Express sales. Sorry, I dropped the remote. To Go Express sales here in Baton Rouge on Florida Boulevard. Lee Carney, Nick Richard, the entire crew drive us every single day. We're back with you tomorrow morning at 7 a.m.
I want to see if there's the highlight of you throwing it. Right there, there's a little highlight.
That's our first NFT right there. You flicking that remote just right out the hand.